Okay, it's time for an update on the Zephyr build. Turns out the engine video we did, part 9, went over to Ed Smith's place and had him look at a block and some things, but there were pieces missing, didn't really have everything accounted for, and JB decided we better make sure we get everything accounted for and take it back to Ed to look at again and further discussion on how to deal with it and maybe look at a different block. So we are on our way to do that and make sure we have a matching situation. There's so many sizings that can change and things that need measuring before you get started. And that's an important thing for keeping everything on time. So we're gonna go make sure we get that straightened out and make sure we know what's going on. So another trip back to 5-star engine. Thanks for coming along.
What do you gentlemen got here?
Well, that's
stuff.
what you're supposed to tell us. We have been told that this is an engine that was prepared. All the work was done in order to rebuild it, and then they stopped. They did the machine work. They bored the engine, bought all the pistons, bought all the bearings. I'm assuming they sized the rods. We got the springs, we got the lifters. So what we're trying to do is make certain that, unlike the other build that we did with you, that the parts don't just dribble in over a period of a long time, because I know it leads to your frustration. So that's the whole point.
I don't get frustrated any. I just
don't work on it.
Just don't.
Right.
We're waiting on parts.
Exactly.
Looks like you got a lot of quality parts here. These are all brand new, expensive.
Yeah.
And it says the instructions right on them, what they are.
Right.
You got all new bearings here. They're even a little dirty, but you wash them up.
Yep.
And they looks like they're 20.
Okay.
And that's the same size as the crank, 20 under.
Okay.
And you got rod bearings here, 20 unders. Looks like the connecting rods are all machined.
Okay.
All clean, like that, and new bushings in here.
Okay.
We can try a bushing in here in the wrist pin and see that it fits in there. I'm sure it probably looks like it will. A little oil on there.
Okay. I didn't know that's one of the ways you tell.
Yeah, that's how you tell.
Okay.
Put a little oil on it and they go in there, slide. They have to be tight, and that looks like it is. If
Right.
not, we can just do a little machine
Right.
work, but it looks like it's been done.
Now these springs,
So
Ed, look kind of like they're used, but is it particularly important that they be brand new, or is it really?
They don't need to be brand new, but you'd have
just
to
have to be
test
good.
them.
Right,
So
make
some
sure
of them may be shorter than the other one.
Okay.
So therefore, probably the short one is not good.
Okay.
Yeah, you got two sizes.
Right. So we may have
So-
to be
How do
looking.
you test them?
We test them with a spring pressure test and so many inches of spring seat on them, and there'd be so many inches to a pound. So possibly at a certain 2-inch space here, it'd be like 80 pounds. Okay. And if it's not that, then the valve will not seat, and the lifter won't stay on the camshaft. It'll float around, and then you'd cause a miss at high speeds. It might idle okay, but it would be missing. So it looks like this is the only short spring.
Okay.
You got a couple more here that looks like okay, but not near as short as this one.
Right.
So this one looks like it actually came out of another engine.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, we got plenty of springs.
Yeah, everybody has plenty of springs.
Right.
And they're cheap. I see you got some valve guides here, and here's a valve guide that would go in a valve. And it looks like these may be brand new.
Okay.
And they're nice and tight.
Right.
A little bit of play because they have a little oil in here.
Gotcha.
So they don't stick. Yeah, it looks like all good.
Okay.
And then you got some lifters here. These are kind of strange because this motor happens to be a hydraulic motor, hydraulic lifters, and you can buy this piece new. It's got a part number right on it.
Yeah,
A VL, valve lifter 15, but you cannot buy these.
Right.
These are not available. So, but a lot of people have these used, but you can buy this, and so that would be in there, and it goes fine.
Right.
So you look like that's all set.
I noticed here that
Yeah,
there's
so-
a bag here from Speedway. It's a company that sells a lot of
Yeah.
motor-related stuff and
It has one
performance
new
stuff.
guide.
Right. But I kept the package so that
But
we would have the part number.
Part
if
number,
we
yeah.
needed another one,
Yeah.
we could just.
Yeah,
Check
but I
with
think
them.
these are the same guides and the same valves as a 239 Ford V8.
Okay.
They're all same
So-
part number,
Right. Okay.
and
So if we
and
need some, we could. There
no
should be
problem getting them. Yeah,
Should be readily available.
And sometimes if we end up getting in trouble, sometimes this is the same valve as the exhaust valve as a small block Chevy V8.
No.
It
Are you
is, yeah.
serious?
Yes. And the small block Chevy V8, we grind the ends and shorten it a little bit,
Okay.
but not much.
Yeah.
And it's the same two locks that go on. Here's the Chevy V8, because these are 5/16 valves.
So
They're all readily available, and you can do it fairly cheap.
okay.
So you look like take a
As
set of
long as you
rings
don't
here.
tell me it came out of a Chevy, I won't know
we
any
won't
better.
tell, nobody telling you.
No, don't
Here's
tell
a
me.
set of, these are, looks like original rings, maybe
All right.
with the box looks like it possibly could be
Right. From Lincoln.
1950 or 51. Yeah,
Okay.
from Lincoln dealer.
Right.
Yeah.
How did you know it was 51?
Well, I don't know. I just
Well, obviously they'd be
the cars were
available after the-
45, 46, and the time they got some miles on them,
Sure.
it'd probably be 50 or 51 when they need
Yeah,
overhauled.
exactly. So there wouldn't be any need for it
There'd be no need to.
earlier on.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a stock ring, and
Okay.
unless you broke some. It looks like 40 over, so this would have been a ring that the pistons would match it,
Right.
being 40 over
Well,
pistons. You can buy pistons different sizes, and this one here should be a 40 over that match the rings and match the cylinder walls in the,
Right.
in the engine.
Okay.
So it looks like you got everything else. It's all good job. These are cleaned up and washed up a little bit and put it together.
Okay.
So need a set of gaskets, and those are readily
Right.
available.
Well, I have a new set.
Yeah. So
Those are readily available.
looks like you got pretty good shape here.
Let's take a look at the cylinder bores.
We can try this piston in a cylinder bore.
I
little
didn't think of
bit.
that. These are the aluminum heads that were available early on. They were available on most of the earlier Lincolns, and the problem being that they had trouble with the antifreeze was very corrosive in those days, and so
Yeah.
you'd get where the water hits it, you'd find these all hogged out and eaten up
Yeah.
from the
Like this one here, maybe.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Now
This
that
one here's got a gouge in it.
right.
And possibly these gouges were caused by somebody trying to get this cylinder head off of the motor
which is very difficult.
over those studs,
Right.
because they'll corrode on there,
Right.
and you can't get the head off because they're corroded.
That was back to the early antifreeze
Yeah,
being
older
corrosive.
antifreeze, yeah. So they've been prying on this head, trying to remove it off
Right,
that head with
exactly.
2 pry bars,
Right.
which they shouldn't have done that.
Right. But you can see there's a pretty good head in terms of the inside, because if this is all eaten up, it's pretty difficult. Now,
Yeah.
Ed has repaired them and remachined them, but
Yeah, we can do that.
we'd
yeah.
much rather start with better heads.
Yeah.
These are actually pretty good shape.
I'll try to put this piston in there a little bit, because I don't want to put a piston in there in a cylinder wall that's not clean,
Right.
but we can tell real
Just
soon here if it is the right bore.
Right.
And it's fairly, so I would, without being oiled and stuff like this, and it does slide in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we
So
know,
that
at least
this
it's close.
It is close, yeah.
Right,
All
which
we do
is
is a little
probably
cleaning
correct. Okay.
and a little honing and
Okay.
clean it up like brand new, and it looks like you've got something else. And
What about your
looks like the
valve?
The valves look like they've been ground. The seats are real narrow,
right?
so it looks like they're clean that up a little bit and touch them with a stone, and
Okay.
everything will be ready to go. Yeah.
So if the other side is just like this side, we
We're
got
all
a
looks
pretty good
like
start.
good. Yeah, pretty good start. Yeah.
Okay. Is it still
Got
going
some
to?
studs here to put the studs in here,
Okay.
and
Now you're still going to put this in. How would you start with this block? Would you put it in a chemical solution, or would
we
you put it
probably
in an
wouldn't put it in
oven?
a. We
No?
probably would not do that with oven. The only way you'd put it in an oven is to get the grease and the paint off.
Right.
It's already had that done.
Okay.
Somebody took the grease and paint off.
All right.
So we would put it in a machine that would be like a sandblaster a little bit,
Okay.
and just run it in there for a few minutes. Not
Now
not
does it
anytime
send
like-
sand and water
yeah,
through it?
and it just cleans it all up like brand new.
Okay.
Look like a new casting, and then
Really?
we do some
Okay.
machining.
Well,
Looks like we'd take somebody machined this, but they have a real sharp edge on here,
Mhm.
and it's hard to get the ring in this edge right here because you're going to break the ring. It should be, and we grind it, look a grinder, and grind this a little taper on here, a 45, and the rings will go down the hole to start a funnel effect. The rings will go right in it. So I see that
Right, keeps
they
it
haven't
from
did
binding.
that since they
Right.
run this out.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the block itself.
It looks like it's
looks
yeah
in good
really
shape.
nice shape. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I
we
realize
did-
it's got a little bit of surface rust and that
Yeah,
sort
but
of
that
thing.
machine will take that
Okay. So
Yeah.
this will make a nice motor.
like a nice motor. Yeah.
Okay, now here we got the valley where the intake ultimately goes. And can you tell anything by looking at
Can't
the
tell me
inside.
much about that because there's anything crack in there.
Right.
The crack is always head surface
It's not
where
nearly
it's
as
heated.
critical.
It's not, yeah, and down there would not be rarely unless somebody had a tool in there
Right.
prying on it and broke it.
Okay.
So I can't think that would happen.
All right.
So it looks like just clean it
Okay.
and put it back together.
Well,
Yeah, we
other
have.
than the gasket set, which we have, is there anything else here that you're thinking we might want to?
Well, we need to get closer. It's upside down. Get closer to this. This Lincoln motor has some different things on it that's rare, and most people, when they're not experienced with these motors, we have to do some engineering and look at it. This has a metal copper tin deflector that goes in these water pumps,
Right.
and I see they're gone.
Well, I
So
have one, but I didn't
If
know
you have
wanted
one,
to-
we can possibly copy it.
Okay.
There's one for the right hand and one for the left side.
Okay.
And so when this water pump pushes against this copper insert,
Right.
tin insert, or thin copper, it would force the water back in the back of the block.
Right.
If
so
it
it
don't,
cools properly.
If it don't, it won't cool properly.
Yeah.
So we need to make those.
Lincoln's had 2 water pumps.
Yeah.
One on the left, one on the right, for
Yeah.
each bank. So what he's talking about is trying to send that water to the rear, so
Yeah.
it does a job of equally
And-
distributing the water, so you can draw the heat out of the engine.
Yeah. And of course, we would take the plugs out, and take them out,
Okay.
and then take a long brush on a wire brush and brush all that
Okay.
to
So
make
those
sure
are
there's
galleys going up
galleys,
through
clean amps. And we need to probably change the cam bearing too.
there. Okay.
And they're readily available. We just put new ones
So
in.
we
as
don't
soon
need
as
to
we
worry
can.
about those.
No need to worry about those, yeah.
Okay.
But mainly run at the machine and start clean
Okay.
and make these.
I got the
make
camshaft
these.
here. I'll get that,
Yeah.
and we can take a look
And
at
make
that.
sure that those okay. Other than that, it looks like a good motor. Something that don't need to be machined a lot. A little more time spent in it, and basically what you're doing here is not necessarily rebuilding the motor. You're restoring it. So you're trying to do the same thing as restoring a nice piece of furniture. You just don't glue the legs on it and say it's restored, but you take it back down to nothing, to the bare wood, and finish it and make it a nice piece. That's what you're going to have to do to this motor. You spend a lot of time cleaning it and buffing it like it was brand new product from the dealer, and you assemble it, and then you got a nice piece. And that's what takes time. Yeah, so it's really it's fun to do.
Yeah, and there's the gasket set.
Yeah, and there's the gasket set.
These are still being made.
Yeah. And this gasket set would have everything looks like it's brand new. Yeah. So.
Okay, here's the cam. I'm guessing and I'm hoping that it was ground, or at least is in good shape.
Yeah.
Can you
And the
tell?
cam
my-
would be, if there's anything wrong with it, would be the top of this lobe right here would be start to wear off.
Okay.
And this one is.
Okay.
See the little rough edges on here for some reason? And I don't think anybody's had a pry bar on this and made those edges, but that would be unacceptable.
Right.
And here's one, this has got some, there's a nice looking one.
Oh, I see what you're
So
saying.
yeah,
It's sharper.
this is really nice and smooth.
Yeah.
We will go back to this one again, and this one here is quite rough.
Are you
see,
just
it's
talking
got
about roughness or the shape of
Roughness.
it?
Yeah, the roughness.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
is that something you can redress?
We can address that, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
A little bit more with that. We have a machine that would clean that up a little bit.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
But it's not terminal.
No, it's not terminal. It looks like it's okay. The bearing journals are all nice and smooth.
Okay.
So we're okay there, yeah. You can buy new timing gears.
We probably
This one
wanna
here
use
is just a
too.
matter of cleaning it.
Okay.
It's aluminum gear, and it runs on the end of the gear on the crankshaft. And so that's just a matter of cleaning it again. Again, it's restoring the thing,
Right.
not rebuilding, but restoring it back to like it was brand
Right.
new.
There's too many people who just want to throw everything away
Yeah,
and
you
start
can't,
over.
yeah. But you got to restore it back to new, like it's
Right.
a nice piece of furniture, varnished and like it's supposed to be.
Right. Now, are these teeth here? Do they appear to be?
No, they look fine.
They're not worn.
They're
to the
aluminum,
point?
and there's not much. Most of
these-
these engines in these cars, this happens to be a 19 what Lincoln
Well, this motor is out of a 40, is that my
40. Possibly it may have had from a brand new car a 40 Lincoln Zephyr. might have 15 or 20,000 miles on it.
Yeah, that's maybe.
Because
Right.
the wife drove it to church.
Right.
She didn't go to the grocery store. She
Right.
took the Model T to the grocery store. She drove this to church.
Right.
And then to her husband's funeral.
Yeah, that's very common for them not to have a lot of miles
Yeah,
on
she
it.
drove it to her husband's funeral.
And
Is that how
is
you
that
met
after
her?
he paid for it, or?
It was all paid for.
Oh,
They had a
good.
lot of
I'm
money
glad to
those
hear
days.
that. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't want to have a car
So,
with debt against it, you know.
Yeah, that's what it is. So, anyways, that's a good part of it.
Okay. So everything you see is okay, but anything else we could be looking for? And,
I don't see anything until
Okay.
you got into cleaning it and again restored it and
okay.
get down to the
You
thing.
want to look at the crankshaft? I can't get it up here, but we can take the cover off and kind of look at it. Now, he's got. That gets a little bit of rust on it, but the journals look like they were done. I don't know that the rust is.
Yeah,
very
they've
deep.
been done, and they put a little this grease on them. It's
Protect
a little
them?
bit of a cosmoline type thing to keep the corrosion off
Okay.
and keep the dust off. And we would tape these up with tape, and then run it through our machine, the same machine we clean that with, and
Okay.
it would come out like brand new.
Okay. So this little bit of surface rust here, you're not.
Yeah, don't bother anything.
Doesn't worry.
We can polish that right up and make it look
Okay, I
good.
got
Yeah.
you. Yeah, they look like they're pretty decent shape
yeah.
from original.
Yeah, and it don't matter if they are.
Okay.
If we polish them up and take a half a thousandths off of it,
It's not gonna matter.
that's fine. It's
Yeah,
all
okay.
in tolerance. Yeah,
Okay.
so it looks good.
So is there
Good,
anything else we need to be looking for? Now this is going to get an automatic transmission, so the flywheel has to be accommodate that.
Well, we have.
Now,
You have that
what did we do
special
last time when
flywheels.
we
We did nothing on the crankshaft on the flywheel
Okay.
because you bought that special flywheel.
Right, that's right. Yeah.
We messed around with the bell housing a little bit.
Okay, we already have that
With that,
flywheel and
yeah.
the C4s have been
Yeah.
rebuilt. So everything
Yeah.
will go together. The reason that the adapter was available is because the C4 transmission, which is a very rugged, small Ford transmission, was used a lot with the Flathead V8s. So they created a lot of aftermarket parts if it was for a Flathead Ford V8. So we were fortunate that the back of the Lincoln motor is the same as a
Same as
Flathead
the
V8.
as a
So now we
239 Ford. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we just have to bolt the transition and the ring gear so that we can have an automatic behind the V12 without a lot of extraneous machine work.
Yeah.
Yeah, this particular
Yeah. Yeah.
bell housing and transition is made by a company called Flathead, and they've been around a lot of years, and we've used a number of them. They work extremely well.
Yeah.
You know, it just puts him in a better place as far as knowing what he's got. He doesn't want to dip into the pool of parts and find out half the stuff's missing. And last time I know he was pretty frustrated, and so was I. It doesn't help the motor if we're out looking for the one last thing it doesn't have.
Yeah.
So that's why we're here, and that's why we're trying to do a little bit of an inventory.
How many actual parts there are?
Hundreds.
Engine build?
Hundreds.
Hundreds. Yeah.
Yeah,
Pieces.
it's in the
small
hundreds.
pieces.
So that's why it's sometimes challenging and frustrating if you start adding all this up, especially a 12-cylinder. That's 50% more parts than most engines on the planet. So it's a lot of parts, but it's a great motor when you do them properly, and they'll give you a lot of years of service.
Yeah.
Just got to do them properly and then take care of them, and
Yeah.
we've learned how to do that.
Yeah.
Okay?
The main part of it is to get it cleaned.
Yes.
Clean. You
Clean,
can never
clean,
clean
clean.
it too much.
Yeah.
And when you put it together, you can't oil it too much.
Right. Well,
With
that's
some
where
good
we're gonna get a-
lubricating additives. They make a lot of lubricating additives they didn't make when this car was made.
right,
And of course, they didn't have silicone.
right,
No such thing as silicone that we can put in the corner of the pan gaskets to keep them from leaking.
right,
And a little silicone here and a little there, but the lubrication is important on these as well as it is
Right.
our brand new motors.
Now this is
So,
an original oil pump, but we're going to be changing it out for a high performance pump that was developed for, you know, hot rodders and that sort of thing. Want more oil pressure. It with a tiny bit of modification, it fits right in. So we'll be using the more higher performance oil pump to provide the oil pressure that we need.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it looks like you need a good somebody to put this together. If you can find them,
Can't
you'll
think of
be all
anybody
right.
offhand, but this,
Well,
so we'll just have to come back, Ed.
yeah.
Thank you, Ed.
Okay, good.
We'll be back soon.
Okay,
Thank you for helping.
Okay.
We did well.
All right, thanks so much for joining us on another one. Please remember to like, subscribe, join in. I will do my best to keep on pace for keeping things updated on this Zephyr build. I have never been a part of building a car before. I've done repairs and things like that, but I've never been part of a build process in any way. So this is very fascinating to me, and I hope you're enjoying it. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon.